You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News. I'm James Creechbaum. Has life from Earth spread to distant worlds? It is often suggested that alien life could have reached Earth on a comet. But what about the other way around? In Earth's distance past, a large, fast-moving comet could have grazed our planet's atmosphere, picking up microbes that became embedded deep within the surface. If any of these managed to survive for thousands or even millions of years travel through space, it is not inconceivable that they could have ended up deposited on a planet in a distant solar system. It suggests that there could be another world out there inhabited by life seeded from Earth. Strange tracks in Texas indicate giant sauropods walking on their front feet only. They were the largest animals to ever walk on Earth. Sauropods, a dinosaur of such immense size and stature, they're sometimes dubbed thunder lizards. Some mysterious ancient tracks described in a new study could offer fresh support for a disputed view in paleontology that these lumbering giants sometimes got around on two legs and not four. Bubbling carbon dioxide vent discovered on the seafloor off the Philippines. Diving hundreds of feet below the surface of the ocean, off the coast of the Philippines, scientists came across a bubbling hotspot of carbon dioxide. And this newly discovered vent might help us predict how coral reefs will deal with climate change, according to a new study. The Pacific Ocean is so acidic that it's dissolving Dungeness crab's shells. Now, the Pacific Ocean is becoming more acidic, and the cash crabs that live in this coastal waters are some of its first inhabitants to feel the effects. Now, the crab is a vital commercial fisheries in the Pacific Northwest, but lower pH levels in its habitat are dissolving parts of its shell and damaging its sensory organs, a new study has found. Now, their injuries could impact coastal economies and forebode obstacles in a changing sea. And while the results aren't unexpected, the study's authors said the damage to the crabs is premature. The acidity wasn't predicted to damage the crabs this quickly. Here's a report of aliens in Chicago from a witness view. My homeboy from Chicago was playing basketball one night in the middle of the city, in the park, with two other friends. He said when they were on the opposite end of the court, a tall alien stepped out of the tree shadow and into the streetlight lit basketball court. His other friends saw it and immediately ran, and my boy turned around and took a good look, making eye contact, basically. He said once he realized how off the body proportions were and saw it was just like wearing white, pale skin, no clothes. He said he got to the weirdest feeling in the body, and he almost involuntarily dropped the basketball and booked it out of there himself. These are some hard guys, not scared, and he said he'll remember it for the rest of his life because it was so tall and so off. He said it gave him the chills. Next news break tomorrow night.
From our compound, from the West Coast to the East Coast to worldwide, both on the internet and terrestrial radio, you're listening to Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark.
And here it is, and it's definitely After Dark. Right now at the compound, it's 8:04 Pacific time. I'll tell you what, today has gone by really fast. I've been waiting for weeks to get Michael on the show. And what he said about water, rejuvenating water, I think, maybe a lot of health issues is caused by what he mentions, dead water that is basically all stripped of its nutrients. Yes, nutrients in water. You have different compounds in water that the body requires. And, when it goes through the processing at your local water company, they also put, poison in your water. Fluoride is a poison. If you sat there and ate a tube of toothpaste that has fluoride in it, you're going to be in the hospital. And our body absorbs that. Now, yes, they claim it makes your teeth stronger for cavities, but they don't tell you what it does to you physically, to other parts of your body. It's scary. And we are drinking a lot of what he mentions, dead water. Now, again, where can they find your devices, your artwork, to purchase it?
My website is www.michaelleehill.net. And there's quite a few delivery systems, because what happened with this as well, you know what, let me wrap that, how they even came to be, because, the crop circle did come in 2011, and it was encoded the name Ia Inki around a 7-pointed star in ASCII binary code. So they did figure out a cool way. And if anyone wants to look this up, just type in Ia Inki crop circle. You'll find it was in Perono, Italy. And so they did answer it. And they also encoded it with something only I would be able to decode, because, like I said, in those 2 years, I've become a student of the science of cymatics, or making frequency visible with new technology. So, I just thought, I had learned to make these energy discs with computer-generated sacred geometry, and I thought, why don't I use one of these Mother Nature created cymatic images instead of computer-generated sacred geometry? And the first one I even made, I could feel the difference of how much more energy was coming off of it. And so that was the birth of this. But simultaneously then, I was contacted by one of the grandmothers of the First Nation. And she said, Spirit's telling me I really need to get one of your, cause I put them in the necklaces as well, the exact same image. And she said, where could I get one? I said, well, first of all, I'll just send you one. And I told my fiance afterwards, I said, man, I feel like something is unlocked, like you got permission from upstairs, to be released to the world. And so Chief Golden White Eagle told me that the reason I'm here in Florida is not just, that's where my beloved already lived, but Florida also has these fresh spring aquifers, that the fountain of youth, right? And all these springs hit the same source eventually. So all these very pure water that's coming up from hundreds of feet below the surface here in Florida, there's no fluoride, there's no chlorine, there's no human thought forms, actually. Even it's pure, it's virgin water, divine, that still has all of its energy. And they said, you're to go to these springs and do this ancient water blessing ceremony. I actually understand it now. Of these beings have the ability to quantum entangle something. He said that he was allowed to go to the very first spring here that was truly the Fountain of Youth spring. It's not where people think it is, but he told me I'm one of 3 people on the planet that actually knows where the very first fountain of youth is. But he said that they weren't allowed to take any water out of it. It was owned by an Iroquois chief that actually owned the land that the spring is on. He said they weren't allowed to take any water from it, but they were allowed to bathe their instruments of healing as medicine men, you know, be it shakers or feathers or wings. They could dip that into the water, and then their healing instruments would bring out the healing attributes of divine holy water out into the real world. He told me, he said, this image, he said, for one thing, I am a medicine man. And he said, to have a shamanic tool, healing tool, one of the prerequisites is that tool has to be crafted by your own 2 hands. He said, this is, you know. So I started to go to the springs here and to do the water blessing ceremony. And so you can imagine when Richard Hoagland set up for NASA to look into my stuff, I'm like, well, you know, so what would you say? It's truth time, you know? It's either it's going to be or not be. But, you know, so many things like this had happened already that, you know, this voice is going, man, if you think this is all just coincidence, you haven't learned anything. But, you know, it's hard to stop that internal voice of going, well, don't count your chickens before they hatch, you know? But, so make a long story short, they said anything once I've done the actual starting of these ceremonies, which I have, anything that has that image on it, it could be a T-shirt, it could be a poster, it could be a necklace, it could be a coaster. I figured, well, if this is true, then why don't I just make coasters as well? So there's different delivery systems you'll find on my website. I think the crystal disc is perfect for doing energy work, and but it's not real practical to wear that. The pendant is, you know, when you wear it, it's going to be revitalizing the water in your body. And a matter of fact, as you said, even the health implications. I've been getting emails from people saying, you know, I've been battling psoriasis my entire life, and nothing the doctors have prescribed to me have helped. And now my psoriasis is gone. And the same thing with eczema, which I know is another skin disorder, but, you know, I didn't know it would do that. I didn't know it would revitalize water. So I'm just following the guidance of what, you know, just follow your bliss, I guess, and this is the end result. But, yeah, check it out. And a matter of fact, also, one of my favorite things of having my website is I have a blog section, and I've been able to use it to communicate as much detail as I want, but also in a nutshell, you know. So check out that stuff, because from NASA, I was given all the, it's called GDV. It's kind of like Curian photography, but it's more specialized to see the photonic output of energy within a water droplet. And so, you know, I have 3 different water studies from NASA. One was California tap water, and that's, you know, the control of that was almost dead. But then after 15 minutes on a disc, they took another 6 photographs. Then after a half hour on the disc, they took another 6 photographs. And at 50 minutes, they took another 6 photographs. But what the scientists told me is, in any other water restructuring technology that they've seen, not only does it get brighter, because you can spin water,